Long story short, 36 years ago, I was like some of you guys are right now. I was just confused. I didn't know what to do. I know money isn't everything, but I had so little money that it was really impacting my quality of life. And more importantly, I just had given up on any kind of a dream, any hope of having an extraordinary life. And I got invited down to a presentation, and you guys just saw a super fast presentation. You know what I mean? That may be the fastest well done presentation I've ever seen, but it was the same kind of thing I saw. It was an opportunity presentation, and it was the first time I'd ever seen it in my life, and it absolutely blew my mind. Now, I know some people look at a presentation, they go, not really for me. Other people look at it and go, oh my gosh, the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. So that was me. Like, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe, because I always dreamed of starting my own business. I don't know about you, but that was always a dream of mine. But I didn't have the money, and I didn't know how to do it. I didn't understand accounting. I didn't understand legalities. I didn't understand so much of what I perceived it took to start a business. So when I saw network marketing, I could join an existing company, but I could literally have my own business. I own it. I can put it in my will and it goes on to my family. I could sell it at some point if I want to. I literally own the business. In Rich Dad, Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, of course, but in his book, Cash Flow Quadrant, he talks about how powerful network marketing is, where we own it. We have equity in it. Without owning the parent company, we still own our little chunk of it. And it just was amazing to me. I know some other people, beauty is in the eye of the beholder and they don't see it, but I saw it. And the idea that was expressed to me there is, yes, you can sell the products. Go sell the products. Go sell a bunch of products. You can make money there like any salesperson could make in any company. However, you could also build a team and get team bonuses. And it was the concept of J. Paul Getty, who was one of the first billionaires in the history of the world, who said it's better to make 1% from the efforts of 100 people instead of 100% of your own efforts. So selling was exciting to me, but building a team was more exciting to me. So I got involved in the industry, and my first 9 months were very up and down, very up and down. What I didn't understand was I was working very hard, but I was doing it wrong. But how do you know when you're doing it wrong if you don't know how to do it in the first place? I was learning from my sponsor, and what I didn't know, my sponsor didn't know what he was doing. See, if you're a 3 or a 4-year-old kid, how do you know if you have a good parent or not? Don't we all at that age just assume our parents are geniuses? I mean, come on, they can drive a car, they can cook food, they're much taller than us, they're smarter, they talk more. So in reality, the truth is a lot of adult parents aren't very good parents, but as a little kid, you can't judge that. Well, guess what? As a brand new network marketer, it's hard to know if your sponsor is really on track and amazing or not. So I just assumed my sponsor was great, and I did everything he told me to do, and wow, did he not know what he was doing. Now, I would have never known that. And here I am 36 plus years later, having earned millions and millions of dollars, trained people, many people, how to make hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, produced billions of dollars in sales revenue, but I almost quit because it wasn't working. I was working really hard and it wasn't working. So I know there's got to be some of you that are here and you're working hard and you're not getting the results you want. Well, the most important thing I ever did in my entire life, the most important decision, it's crazy if you haven't figured this out. When you get a little bit older like me, you'll look back at your life and man, there were three or four decisions I made in my whole lifetime that changed the direction of everything. Well, my most important decision was deciding to go to a company training event. And I didn't want to go to it. And I didn't have the money to go to it. It was $300 plus airfare plus hotel. I didn't have the money. And remember, $300 is a lot now. But back then, geez, 35 years ago, that was a lot of money. So I wasn't going to go. I had reasons and excuses not to go, but someone pushed me, and that's an important theme. If you're a team builder here, man, let me tell you something. If someone didn't push me to go to that event, I wouldn't have gone. If I hadn't gone to that event, I would have quit without a shadow of a doubt, because I would have never known that my sponsor didn't know what he was doing. So I would have just assumed he did know what he was doing. I would work my ass off and got nothing out of it, and I would have quit. But when I went to that event and my mentor taught me how to invite, how to present, how to close, how to train, how to promote, how to prospect, how to do a 2-on-1, how to edify, how to this, how to that. He taught me all the most important key things about being a network marketer. And all of a sudden I sat there and realized, wow, is my sponsor off track? By the way, the trainer I went to see at that point was making well over 100,000 US dollars every single month. And that's a lot of money now. Back then it was ridiculous. And by the way, he went on to make over $1 million a month all the way back then. He went on to make millions of dollars a month. So I was just really lucky. I got someone who was really good at it, and they taught me. Now, here's the crazy thing. He taught a lot of people at that weekend. As a matter of fact, he taught a lot of people as the years went ahead. Most people didn't end up getting wealthy from it, which blows my mind. But it proves that knowledge is not power. Whoever told you knowledge is power is a liar. It's applied knowledge. When you use the knowledge, then it becomes power. So after that first event, I got a little better. But what happened at that first event is my hope went through the roof. My optimism went through the roof. I had found a guy who could show me how to get there. So I registered for the next event, and I went back and I got a little bit better. Not a lot better. You don't get better. You don't learn how to do calculus after one calculus class. You don't learn how to do trigonometry after 2 trigonometry classes, but you learn something. So I got a little better. I went to 3 events. And then after 3 events of going by myself, I started bringing my team. And when I brought my team, I was able to definitely really grow my business. So that's the key, man. It's like, for me, like, again, everyone is different. I've had a lot of success. What I have found is the people who go to training events by themselves, whether they be virtual or in person, but especially events that are in person. And when you go to an event in person and you bring your team with you, wow. You know, earlier Michael referenced Christy, and I was fortunate enough to be in a company with Christy where he was building years ago, and I was the trainer, the in-house trainer for them. And, you know, he was always showing up with a lot of people. And now, you know, I have a company called Life Mastery, which we'll talk about briefly. And again, Christy has found out that I had this company. I was doing our trainings again, and he's bringing people. That's where Michael referenced people went to Greece. That was a Life Mastery trainings event. And listen, I just love this industry, and I love to teach people how to do this industry. And I know there's a lot of haters out there. I know there's a lot of people who go, the industry doesn't really work, you know, it's a scam, or I know someone who did it and blah, blah, blah. They have all the reasons not to do it. Thank God I didn't listen to those people. And thank God I just did this business. So now it's my absolute passion to teach this to people. I just love it. So if you're crazy enough, like I was, to believe that it's possible, why not you? You know, that's the biggest company in the history of the industry, is a company called Amway. I'm sure you've heard of Amway. They do billions. They've been doing many, many billions of dollars a year in sales for decades. And their slogan way back when was, why not you? Why not now? And again, I've always borrowed that from them. Why not you? I'm asking you right now. There's whatever, 800 people, I think, here. Why not you? I know Christy Critique is the highest ranked. That's great, but that's good for him. But why not you? And why not right now? And I'm going to talk a lot about right now before we get done with this. So here's a couple of quick things I want to teach you. Then I want to talk to you about an event that we're doing in about a month. And I want to make you an offer you can't refuse. But for now, let me share this with you. Last night, I know many of you probably don't follow American football, and I understand it's kind of even crazy that we call football football, because in American football, you only kick the ball once in a while. You guys have real football, and I know that. So please don't, you know, hate on me. But there's a player that you probably heard of named Tom Brady. He's very famous worldwide. He was married to Gisele Bundchen. He played the most difficult position in football for many years, called a quarterback. And he's retired, but last night they had a big ceremony and they retired his jersey, and they had about 100,000 people show up in a stadium just to celebrate his career. And he made an amazing speech. And in that speech, he said, I think every young man in this country should play football. And here's why. Because it teaches you about hard work. You know, when you have to get up at 6 a.m. and all of your friends are sleeping in, but you're getting up before you go to school to go to practice. When it's the summertime and all the other kids are on summer vacation and they're going to the beach or they're going to the pool, but you're going to the practice field and you're working your brains out and you have no guarantees and no promises. You're just trying to make the team. You're trying to be the best you can. And then when you get in the games and you understand it's hard, because he said in his speech, life is hard. Everyone in this day and age, they want life to be easy. Everyone is trying to be a guru and tell you how easy everything is. That is ridiculous. When people say, you don't need to work hard, you need to work smart. If I could slap them in the mouth, I would. You do need to work smart and hard. Stop thinking hard is a bad 4-letter word. So Tom Brady said, I got here because I worked hard. So when you're in your opportunity in network marketing, nothing is just going to happen because you're in the right company at the right time. If you're in the right place at the right time, you don't do anything, nothing happens. Many, many years ago, people had a chance. This is crazy. When Apple was brand new and they were in Stephen Jobs' garage, read his book and read this story. They were trying to sell 10% of the company for something like $10,000, some ridiculously low amount of money to get 10%. Could you imagine right now if you own 10% of Apple? You would be a billionaire by owning 10% of Apple. And the people were in the right place at the right time. How much more of a right place at the right time could you be in as an investor? But they didn't do anything. So not doing anything doesn't matter. So Tom Brady said, you got to work hard, man. And he also said this, and it's so applicable to our business. He goes, when you work hard and you understand that working together is a team and putting the team's need ahead of our own individual needs, that's the only time you can accomplish anything of true greatness. No matter how amazing we are as individuals, we have limits if what we're going to do by ourselves. But when you really work with a team, and that's our business, guys, no matter how good you get, you should go to trainings, you should read books, you should do everything you can, but you've got to get your team to rise up with you, man. That's what this is all about. It really, really is a team sport. So that inspired me because, you know, again, another famous coach, and I took on this all the time. I believe I taught on this when I met Michael. It's like there's 5 types of players you can be if you're going to be a player on a team. You can be bad at what you're doing. You can be average at what you're doing. You can be good at what you're doing. Those are the 3 things that most people are. They're bad, they're average, or they're good. Bad, I don't think we have to discuss. No one wants to be bad at something, but a lot of people put in virtually no effort, so they're bad. Average. Let's talk about average. Average, if you look in a dictionary definition of average, one of the definitions is the highest degree of poor. So if you're average, you're excellent at being terrible. You're the best at being the worst. Who wants to be average? And here's the scary thing about average. If you look for synonyms of the word average, it's normal. Now, I got news for you, whether you know this or not, and this is why the training I'm doing coming up in Malta is so important. Most people are trying to fit in. They're trying to be quote unquote normal. And if you're trying to be normal, you're never going to be rich. Rich people, that's not normal. 97% of all the people on earth will never be rich. They're not even trying to get rich. They're working regular jobs. They are looking for security. Average normal people want to have enough money to pay their bills and take care of the basic needs. And they view being an entrepreneur is far too risky. So we have got this unique opportunity being in the network marketing industry. We're going to go beyond average, which is a big, big, big deal. Good. Good is definitely better than average, for sure. So some people are doing good. They're making $5,000 a month, or maybe 10,000 a month. That's definitely good. But one of my favorite books in the history of the world is called Good to Great. Jim Collins, one of the greatest business analysts ever, business authors ever, analyzed a lot of companies in many different industries that were good, and then he analyzed another company in the same industry who was great, and he showed the difference. And one of the most powerful things that came out of that is good is the enemy of great. I want you to let that sink in. So if you're doing good, a lot of people stop right there. Okay, I'm doing good. I don't want to work anymore. I don't want to have to build any new teams. I don't want to sponsor anyone else. I don't want to get any new customers. I'm doing good. I have more money coming in than I've ever made before in my life. My expenses are $3,000 a month. I'm making $10,000 a month. You're doing good. You are. Congratulations, you're doing good. But good becomes the enemy of great because it takes away something that's vital. And I'll go to that in a couple minutes. So we have those three: bad, average, and good. Now, on the other hand, the other two things are you can be great or you can be elite. So most people fit in over here, great and elite. Now, let me tell you about these people. These people want to be left alone. So when you're building a team, they want you to leave them alone. These people do not want to be coached. They don't want to be trained. They don't want to go to events. They're probably not on this Zoom because they don't want to be trained. They don't want to be coached. They want to be left alone. They want to just do their own thing, which is cool. It's network marketing. That's the problem. The best thing about network marketing is you can do whatever you want whenever you want. The worst thing about network marketing is you can do whatever you want whenever you want. So these people will never rise to this level. These people want to be coached. They want to be trained. And here's a big thing. They want to be coached hard. They want someone to tell them the truth. They don't want someone to sugarcoat. And if they do something wrong, they want people to know them. They want to be better. They want to win. They want to be the best. So the first thing I'm going to ask you is, where are you for real on this scale? Where are you for real? Are you bad at what you're doing? Are you average at it? Or are you good? And if you're real, you probably fit over here. So to be great and elite, here's the cool thing. Here's the great news. I'm telling you, this is great news. And as a matter of fact, the football player I told you, Tom Brady, said this yesterday. To be great or elite, you don't need a lot of talent. You don't need more talent than you have right now. What you need is discipline. What you need is a willingness to do the work. You need a desire. So many of you, I'm sure, have read the book Think and Grow Rich. If you haven't read that book, you need to read that book. In the first chapter of that book, the author puts together a success formula on being successful. And one of the main things you need to have to be successful is what he calls a white hot burning desire to be successful. Now, if you're bad at what you do, average at what you do, good at what you do not have a white hot burning desire. You know, in basketball, I'm going to shift gears here. The average, I was at the game last night. This is what's so great about network marketing. So the NBA finals, and I live in Dallas and the team is in the finals. So I went to the finals last night. And just to get the cheapest ticket in the building, the worst ticket in the building, was $1,500 US. The kind of seats we had were a lot more money than that. And I was just sitting there going, man, like years ago, I would have never dreamt of going to a game like that. I would have had to watch it on TV. To be able to be in the room and experience that was unbelievable, especially having great seats. But that would have never happened to me if I hadn't gotten involved in network marketing. So again, go back to a white hot burning desire. The great and elite people, they're not more talented. They have a desire. They have a willpower. So go back to the NBA players. I was starting to say the average NBA player, according to Kobe Bryant, who's one of the greatest players of all time, works out once a day. the average player, like just a normal player who maybe is going to spend 2 or 3 years in the league and then be gone. The really serious players, really good players work out twice every day. Kobe Bryant worked out 4 times every day. He got up at 4 o'clock in the morning and he worked out until about 11 o'clock at night. All he did was basketball. He was obsessed with basketball. Now that is an elite mind. It's not great. That's elite. That's crazy. But if you look at the great players, they're doing it twice a day. They're doing it twice as much as everyone else. So ask yourself, what's your effort level like? Are you doing, and this is, let me go back to being average for a second. So an average player is somebody that most people are looking around and you're seeing what everyone else is doing, and then you're fitting in with them. Okay, so okay, the average person does like 1 presentation a day. Let's use that as an example. They do 1 presentation a day. So, okay, I'm doing 1 presentation a day. So if that's the way your brain is working, and a lot of this has to do with your mindset, more than you could possibly imagine. When we do the training in Malta in July, we start off and spend the first 5 hours and prove to you. If you don't believe the statement I'm going to make right now, I'll prove it to you indisputably, undeniably. We are all born to win and then programmed to lose. Most, if not all, of what's stopping you from being a high rank in your company is not the pay plan. It's not your team. It's not your skill set. It's your mindset. There's something in your mind that's holding you back. I can just tell you, I've been doing this for 36 years. I've trained people in Asia. I've trained people in Africa. I've trained people all over the world. And the one thing I'm going to tell you is the people that get wealthy, the people that break through, the people that hit the highest levels, they're the ones that get the right mindset. More importantly, they get the garbage that's in their own head right now and they get rid of it. So again, if you are looking around and you're doing what everyone else is doing, that is an average mindset. That's not even a good mindset. So if everyone else is doing 1 a day and you go, okay, well, then I'll do 1 a day. That's not 3 a day. 3 a day is going to make a big difference. Yeah, I mean, if you do something once a day for a whole year, you've done it 365 times. If you do it 3 times, now you've done it over 1,000 times. That's a really big difference. Now, after 1 day, it doesn't seem like a big difference. 3 to 1 is not a big difference, but 300 to 1,000, that's a really big difference. For those of you that want to be great in the elite, it's 5 presentations a day, 7 presentations a day, 10 presentations a day. Again, it's not that you're better. You've got to hear what I'm saying. It's not that you're better. It's that you're willing to do more work. Think about this. Let's say you have a deep desire to be a great surgeon. You want to be a brain surgeon. Well, let me tell you something. You have to have talent. You cannot go into someone's brain with delicate surgical instruments and do brain surgery if you're not amazingly talented. Imagine if you were terrible at it, but you said, well, instead of doing 1 brain surgery a day, I'll do 10 brain surgeries a day. Would that make you a better brain surgeon? No, you'd probably kill people. You'd hurt people. So there's a lot of careers by working harder, it doesn't really move the needle that much. In our business, you just need to be willing to work harder. You need to be willing to do more hours. You need to do more trainings. You need to read more books. You need to do more presentations. So again, the first thing I'd really focus on if you want to be special in this industry is you got to stay away from these 3 things. Good, average, and good. I'm sorry, good, average, and poor. You got to stay away from those, which means you don't want to be left alone. You do want people to coach you. You do want people to push you. Now, let me flip it a minute. Let's say you're the business builder. Let's say you're the upline. Let's say you're the one who's looking to build a bigger and better team. Well, let me tell you something. If you have people on your team that fit in these three groups, they're not going to do much for it. I mean, the bad people and the average people are going to do almost nothing. Yes, I will agree with you. The good people could do something, but what you're looking for is great and elite. And here's one of my favorite things to get people to understand. In order for you to have a big team to be able to make really good money on overrides, you only need 4 or 5 of these people. You don't need a lot of these people. Are uncommon. They are abnormal. That's what I was trying to say earlier. One of my favorite quotes is, why are you trying so hard to fit in when you were born to stand out? Average people are trying to fit in. Average people are massively, massively insecure. So if you're the business builder, and this could be an aha moment for someone, this is what's crazy. So when people say, I'm going to do this full time, network mark, I'm going to go full time, I'm in, I'm ready to do this thing, I want to make a career, they quit their job. That's a big move. For the ones who do that, they see the vision, they do it, and they don't make it, they end up quitting and going back to having a job. Number one reason without a shadow of a doubt, is they're working with the wrong people. They're working with the people that are bad and average. They don't understand. So let me give you some characteristics here. Okay, if you're looking for who's the right person for me to work with, number one, you want someone who's teachable. I cannot begin to explain to you how important that is. If someone has all the talent in the world, but they won't listen, I won't spend any time with them. Now, I'm not mean to them. I don't yell at them, but I'm just going to analyze. And if I say, let's do this, and you go, okay, and then you do something else, if I can see you're definitely not listening to me, forget about it. So the first thing I look for of someone I want to take on, someone I want to work one-on-one with, is someone who's teachable. That to me is the most important thing. Second thing I'm looking for is someone who's got that burning desire, someone who has a strong, strong desire to be really successful. And then the third thing I'm looking for is someone who's tough. Go back to Tom Brady's talk. Life is tough. It's not easy. So I'm looking for someone that when they are in my business and they do hit some adversity, they have a few people quit their team, something goes wrong, they don't fall apart. They don't blame everyone. They don't quit. Those are the 3 main things I'm looking for. So if you're building a team, look for those things. And here's a big one. If you don't have a lot of those people yet, then you need to go sponsor more people. Because here's the thing. I use this analogy all the time. One of my favorite trainings is to do a gambler. And I pull out a deck of cards. And if we talk about the great and elite people, they're what you call an ace, right? We all know, Jack, Queen, King, ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So if I've got a 7 in my hand and I'm looking for an ace, can we all agree a 7 is not an ace? What's hilarious, a lot of you guys are trying to turn your 7 into an ace. Not going to happen. A 7 is a 7. A 7 might grow into an 8, but a 7 is not going to be an ace. You need to sponsor more people. You know why a lot of people don't sponsor more people? Because of the comp plan. Whatever the minimum legs you need to hit the higher ranks, that's the only amount of teams people buy. But most comp plans allow you to build as many teams you want to. You can sponsor as many teams you want to. I heard you guys have a matching bonus. So why wouldn't you build as many teams you can? The way you're going to find great and elite people is by going through lots of people. So as a business builder, I'm looking for 3 things: someone who's teachable, someone who's got a burning desire, and someone who's tough. Now, let me flip it around. If you're new, this is what you should be. So I just told you, your upline, this is what they're looking for. So if you know what they're looking for, then you should become it. You should become teachable. You should have a burning desire to do this, a strong desire to do this. Find out what your why is, something that's going to drive you. And then last but not least, you got to be tough. It's not going to be easy. People are going to quit your business. Things are going to go wrong. You cannot go sideways. Read some books about entrepreneurs like Stephen Jobs or Elon Musk or any of the successful entrepreneurs. Many of them had so many things going wrong, so many things falling apart, but they had such a strong desire that they made it through all of those rough waters. So again, if you're the business builder, that's what you're looking for. If you're the individual, that's what you're trying to become. Now, I want to say one more thing before I talk a little in detail about the event. Born to Win, Program to Lose. How many of you have ever seen the image of the little kitten that looks into a mirror and sees back the reflection of a lion? And it's like, oh, that's so inspiring. And it is. You know what I was 36 years ago? I was a lion who was looking in the mirror and saw the reflection of a kitten. That's what I was. That's the truth. Because I was born to win, programmed to lose. But I didn't know that. So this, to me, if you forget everything else we talked about so far, this is the key. Imagine working today and getting paid at the end of the month. That's what people do. They work and then they get paid once a month for the work that they did. That's what people do their whole life. Again, I told you I got the concept from J. Paul Getty. I'd never heard it before. You know, I guess I was a goofball. I was 27. I never heard. It's better to make 1% of 100 people's efforts instead of 100% of your own efforts. Well, here's the bottom line. If you work today and get paid for it 6 months from now, a year from now, 3 years. That's like when I met a guy who was making a fortune in the business. And I said, how much money did you make this month? He said to me, I don't know. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? I thought it was like, how could you not know? I knew he was making a lot of money. He goes, well, how could I possibly know what I made this month? Because what I did, I'm in a sprint season. Think about a sprint versus a marathon, right? So if you're in a long distance run, you just keep moving along. And normally that is what network marketing is like. There's 3 rules: pay attention, get excited, never quit. If you want to finish a marathon, never quit. Even if you're going really slow, as long as you keep going, you'll eventually cross the finish line. If crossing the finish line is making 100,000 euros a year, well, guess what? If you cross the finish line at some point, you win. So that's how most people teach you to do network marketing. I actually agree with that. But now I want to talk to you about being a sprinter. Because when I asked that gentleman that question, he said, I don't know how much money I made because I'm in the middle of a sprint right now. Meaning I'm going way above and beyond. Think about the seasons of the year. You have spring, summer, winter, fall. He said, so normally I work hard, but then every year I take 90 days of that year, and that's my season to sprint, to work crazy hours, to work 6 or 7 days a week, to work 10 or 12 hours a day. Instead of doing 1 presentation a day, I do 10 presentations a day. I just go to a different level. And the thing is, when I'm in the middle of one of those sprints, if you're asking me how much money I made this month, I can't tell you until 5 or 10 years from now, because a lot of what I did so much activity during this sprint that we're not going to know the full benefit. I can tell you what my bonus check was this month, but what I earned this month, I can't tell you for several years. Let me tell you something. You guys got a new deal coming out. It's coming out any day. You need to go into sprint mode. And again, if you weren't planning on going into sprint mode, I'm just telling you, you're crazy. Because if you pin your ears back, now during the summer, let's go back to average people. Average people are like, whoa, man, it's summer. You know, the kids are off from school. I want to relax. I want to chill out. You know what I mean? It's like everyone's going on holiday. Cool. So Warren Buffett said this, one of the wealthiest people in the world. Ironically, my mentor said the same thing. If you want to be rich, watch what everyone else does and then do the exact opposite. My mentor said, who do you know personally who's trying to get rich? And when he first asked me, I'm like, man, I couldn't think of anyone in my life, because most people are just trying to make a living. The thing is, if you're just trying to get rich, if you're making the effort to get rich, you're ahead of so many people. It's not even funny. So that's all I'm going to tell you guys right now. I've already said this to you a couple of different ways because I was leading up to this point. You don't need to be the most talented. You don't need to do the best presentations. You don't need to have the most followers. You know what you need to do? Outwork any month you've ever had. Start with 1 month. What if you decide from now until 30 days from now, you're going to work harder during these 30 days than you've ever worked before in your entire life? And then what if you came to breakthrough and then went crazy again after breakthrough? My gosh, you could literally, between now and the end of 2024, you could create a revenue source for you and your family that will last you into the 2030s. If you just go crazy between now and the end of the year. Now, here's the thing. Poor people, average people, and good people are not going to do what I'm talking about. This message is only going to hit to these two groups, the elite and the great. If you want to be elite and be great, you know what? There's no time like the present. I'll go back to simple, basic Amway stuff. Why not you? Why not right now?